All right, guys, everybody, kintips here. So I just wanted to give you guys a comparison. So people have asked me the comparison for the S18 versus the Falcon. So I usually keep my S18 at my parents' place because I have something to ride. I moved it from my place not too long ago because you can see me making videos on the S18 a while back. But yeah, it's an older wheel, right? So that's why I wanted something to ride that's bigger and more for longer range versus my M10-4, which I also keep here as well. So I'll show you guys. There's my M10-4 that I usually keep here as well, just to cruise around. And yeah, so let's get back to the wheel here. But yeah, I don't really want to lug my S18 back home just to make a video. But I'll do a comparison for versus the Falcon. Just for imagine it was here, but you'll see my comparison with the Falcon after this video, so then you guys can get an idea. But yeah. So simply, the S18 is an older wheel, but it's a really nice wheel. I like it. I like riding it. It's very easy to ride as well. The only thing, like it has high pedals, as you can see, pretty high clearance. And it's got your suspension, which is an air suspension. It's got an 1100 watt hour battery, so which is more than your Falcon. But if you get the monocell version, which is I believe it's only 900 watt hours, so it would be about the same, but it has less voltage sag. And that was the biggest thing back in the day, was voltage sag on the S18, where it doesn't give you enough juice and it would cut out on you. So it's remedied in the Falcon because they use Samsung 50S cells. Now, what if you were to use 50S cells in an S18 nowadays? Well, you probably wouldn't have those issues either. So, the biggest issue back in the day for S18 was, like I said, battery weakness. Now, if you use 50S cells, or if KingSong actually updated this wheel, we wouldn't have those issues anymore. So you really can't compare it like that, in that sense that, oh, it's gonna cut out on you. I'll tell you, this wheel has never cut out on me, okay? But I'm also a light rider. So if you're heavier, like, I would say over 200 pounds, 220, you probably don't wanna push this wheel, okay? But if you're like me, like with gear on, I'm probably 135, 140. So I have no problems riding this wheel whatsoever. And then like pretty much any wheel, except when you're light, you really can't, it's much harder for you to ride like heavy wheels. And I noticed that when I first jumped from like a V8F to a V12 HT, it was quite hard to ride. And then from the V12, I jumped to the KingSong S18 Pro, and in weight class, right? So weight about the V12 HT was about 63 pounds, and then add another 10 pounds onto that 73 for the KingSong S18 Pro. You might be like, oh, it doesn't make a difference. It does. Your legs get more tired. That's what you'll notice. And imagine you go into like a V13, which is 110, which is way over half my body weight. It would be very hard to control, right? So yeah, I don't know if I would ever go higher, like 8 to 80 pounds. It would be just much. It's not fun anymore. So that's what I find. Like a lot of people like, oh yeah, get the EX30 or something like that, or a Master Pro. Those things weigh at like 100 pounds, and yes, they have great distance, but are you gonna actually have fun riding one of those things? Because it's so heavy. Yeah, that's why I usually like my M10-4, because it's just nicer to rip it around on something small. And I'm not really going that far. Yeah, so anyways, let's go back to that. Yeah, so this wheel is one of my favorite wheels. It's a nice cruiser wheel. It doesn't have torque. It has some torque, but it's not like strong torque. If you compare this to the Falcon, Falcon wins hands down for torque. Okay, so Falcon reminds me of a M10 for torque. Okay, so because it's so light, and the wheel is small, you can really get the speed up really quickly. Suspension, like I said, it's an air suspension shock, so it's nice. I would say the suspension is very similar to the Falcon. Okay, so the suspension on this one is very similar to the Falcon compared to like the S16 Pro. The S16 Pro suspension is nice, smooth, bouncy. The suspension on the Falcon is bare bones, minimum, like shock, like basic, very basic. So maybe the suspension on the Falcon is just as good as the S18, maybe slightly better, like just by like a nudge. Okay, so yeah, so the Falcon it's okay suspension. It gets the edges off. But this suspension, because it's an air suspension, you can adjust it, right? You can put more air in it, you can put less air into it, and you can even turn off the suspension. So so I do like it for that reason alone. Yeah, so the suspension is pretty much the same. There's nothing really to compare. Weight-wise, they're both about the same as well. This is probably slightly lighter because I did do a weight test on this a while back. Came in under 55, but slightly under 55. And the Falcon is 55 pounds. Now, Falcon is really easy to ride as well. And I can bunny hop on the Falcon. I can't really bunny hop on this because there's nothing to grip yourself with. Yeah, there's a little bit of a edge here, but you really don't ride your feet right underneath this. It doesn't feel right. So yeah, I don't really jump or do anything with this thing. Yeah, it's an okay for that. But the Falcon is a really nice trick wheel in a way that if you want to go downstairs, you can do it really easily. You can go down off curbs. I've gone off curbs on it, and it's pretty good for that. Yeah, and oh, by the way, the trolley handle. So let's go talk about the trolley handle. Trolley handle S18 is perfect. It has a perfect trolley handle. Works really well. 2 levels. First level is the kill switch. Second level is the trolley, and it's in the center. It's perfect. It's well balanced, and it works. And you put it back down, and then the wheel starts bouncing again. It is one of the best trolley handles. Okay, so it's almost on par with the 16X. Now, if you look at the Falcon, I was actually quite astonished how well the Falcon actually handles when you trolley it around. But I don't like the latch handle. The latch handle is the worst thing in that wheel. So because then you got to manually with your gloves try to pull it back to make it latch back on. So and you can't. It doesn't slip back down. You can't just push it back down so it slides into it. It doesn't do that. So so yeah, that's the comparison with the trolley handle. Oh, there's a couple other things I wanted to mention. Lights here in the front, okay? There's a USB charging port on this as well. So you charge up in the front and the on button's there, and there's a USB charging port in here as well. And then you do have this rear light which does move around, and it is a battery indicator as well. So when it's full, it goes all the way. When it's half full, it'll go down here. And when you turn, it does a nice neat little night rider thing. So so yeah, it's a nice wheel. A lot of people don't like it, but it's for the battery part. But you really can't fault it for the battery part because that was back in the old days when we didn't know. Well, we didn't have the Samsung 50SL. So, but anyways, it is a nice wheel. If they updated it, I think it would be even a greater wheel. But oh, it's gonna do an automatic shut off. So. But yeah, so yeah, it's nice. It has a USB port. And remember, the Falcon is pretty much bare bones. Now, this is also bare bones as well. It doesn't have speakers or anything like that, but it does have a USB port. All right, guys, and now stay tuned for the Falcon part. Oh, also wanted to mention that these pedals are magnetic, so which is really cool. It's not friction or anything like that. I like how KingSong actually has them magnetized, so then you don't have to worry about them ever getting loose or not holding. So All right, guys, everybody, kintips here. So I'm back home. I show you my Falcon. I'm finishing off my comparison with the Falcon versus the S18, and give you guys a better idea. So yeah, basically the S18 it's actually a really good wheel. It is an older wheel, but they are actually very similar because they have no speakers. The only thing that S18 has is that it does have a USB port to charge things. This is a 900 watt hour battery. The one I have is 1100 watt hours, but there is a model cell version of the S18 that has 900 watt hours as well. So range and things like that would be very similar. This wheel, of course, is smaller, so it is going to be torqueier. And you do notice that the S18, like I said, is not really torquey whatsoever. But the pads here, like I said, long as they don't hurt you, like I got used to this. This part was an issue, but I got used to this. But this wheel is really easy to jump. It's very easy to go off curbs, very nimble would be the better word, and it's very easy to ride. S18 is also very easy to ride as well. But with this, you got the torquiness, the springs are good. Suspension is, like I said, slightly better than the S18. And then I mean slightly. So they're very similar, but the S18 you can adjust how well you want to have the bounce back because it's an air chamber. So the trolley handle isn't that good. The S18 wins on the trolley handle for sure. So the latch kind of sucks here. The trolley handle is fine. It does work better than my S16 Pro, so that is good. The lights are good here. They're nice and bright. The S18 also has different settings for the brightness of the lights as well. This is just on and off. That's it. So it's got a kickstand. S18 has no kickstand. You have to buy an additional adapter to get the kickstand. Yeah, so they're very similar in the way, but I wouldn't discount the S18 just because, if you guys are out there and you're differing, like, budget wise and things like that, S18 is on sale now. So because it's an older wheel, you can get it at a pretty good discount. This thing is, I paid quite a bit of money for this Falcon, and do I think it's worth it? Is it like twice as better than an S18? Not quite. Okay, so, but it is much more expensive than an S18 is now. So if you guys are on a budget, don't discount the S18, especially if you're a lightweight rider. You'll love the S18. Like I said, I've had no problems whatsoever. But if you're heavier, things like that, yeah, this wheel might not even be for you either. Okay, so because like I said, the springs that it comes with, there is 2 sets of springs. Of course, they're coils, and they have different weight settings on them. So, but you would have to switch it out yourself. But yeah, so if you were a heavier weight rider, an S18, but as long as you get the monocell version, you should be okay. But if you don't get the monocell version, you probably want the monocell version if you're a heavyweight rider. But like I said, don't discount the S18. It is a good deal. It works really well. It's just don't expect a lot of torque out of it. It's a cruiser. Like I said, it's a cruiser type of wheel, and it rides really well over bumps, things like that, because of the big tire. So this is really good for going up hills, going up side of mountains. Well, maybe not mountains, but it is good going off curbs, things like that. Very playful, very fun wheel. There is a display on top that it has. S18 has no display, so that's another drawback for it. Otherwise, yeah, the portability, of course, wins. But yeah, S18, like I said, if you can get it cheap, like if you can get it for like $1,200, buy it. S18 is by far a really good wheel. And when I mean 1,200, I mean 1,200 Canadian. Okay, but yeah, if it's 1,200 American, because I believe in the US, the Falcon goes for like $1,599. So it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But 1,200 Canadian dollars is only, I believe, 800, $700 American. So yeah, so it is quite a, it would be quite a lot cheaper. It'd be half the price, and it's totally worth it. If you're a beginner, remember, you're going to smash up your wheels quite a bit when you're a beginner. So you'll fall, you'll damage your wheels, very common. You'll scrape the pedals. Even veteran riders will scrape pedals, okay? Because you're trying to see how far you can lean before you actually scrape it. So, and pedal clips. Everybody is prone to pedal clipping. Okay, so I've done it. Okay, so you know, you might think, oh yeah, I'm good. No, no, you just go a little bit too much and you'll clip your pedal. Okay, so everybody does it. It's a thing. Okay, guys. But anyways, that's my comparison. If you have any questions, comments, post below, subscribe to the channel.